Alright, today I'm here with Dwight Becker of Jenison, Michigan. The interviewer is Adam Jones of the Grand Valley State University Veterans History Project, and today's date is August 17th, 2015. Now, Wendell, if you could begin with, where and when were you born?
Born in Grandville, Michigan on March 25th, 1924.
Okay. And did you grow up there?
I grew up there. I went to Grandville High School.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then I went to, after I got out of high school, in the fall of '42, I went to Grand Rapids JC, which it was called at that time.
Okay. Now, Grand Rapids Community College?
Yes.
Now, what did your parents do for a living?
My dad was a auto mechanic. He had a auto service garage where I helped him many summers and weekends.
Okay.
Got my hands dirty.
Nothing wrong with that. Now, did your father have steady work through the Depression?
He worked through the Depression. Yes, he had the garage during the Depression, and I remember many times you'd bring him home a bushel of potatoes or a bushel of apples or something or other to pay for the service that he did on their automobile.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And did you have any siblings?
Yes, I had two brothers and two sisters. I had one sister older than me, and the other ones were younger than me.
Okay.
They're all deceased now, and I had twin brothers, Bob and Dick. They were also in the service, but not during they were 2 years younger than I, so there was occupation service.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, in 1941, the attack on Pearl Harbor happens.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, it was on a Sunday evening, and my wife was babysitting the pastor's children, and I happened to be over there sitting on their porch. And of course, I wasn't listening to radio or anything, but here comes a paper boy down the street. Extra, extra, read all about it. Pearl Harbor bombed by the Japanese, and many events, serious events in those days. That's the way they got it down the streets,
Yeah.
extras on newspapers. So that's where I was when Pearl Harbor was bombed in '41.
Okay. Now, did you understand like the ramifications of that, or was it just did it kind of seem far off, or did this seem really immediate?
Well, kind of half and half. I was still in high school at that time, and of course it affected us a certain way because we knew sooner or later that my age and other ones were going to be in the service, because this was no short-term situation.
No. Had you been paying attention to the stuff that's happening in Europe and Asia before Pearl Harbor?
Well, not really too much interest in foreign affairs at being in school yet. No.
Right. Okay. So that happens, and you were drafted in 1943. So between Pearl Harbor and then, what did you notice happen in the community in terms of a war effort?
Well, many things were rationed, of course, fairly quickly, and I found that my father, being in the garage business, parts for automobiles were getting harder to get. His brothers had a gas station at that time also connected with that business, and I can remember they put in a machine to recap tires, because rubber tires were hard to get, and they put a recapping machine in that time.
Okay.
To help, but much sugar was rationed, of course. Your gasoline was rationed. In fact, I remember on my dad's car, which I drove occasionally with, they had to put a sticker at the 35-mile-an-hour limit, and this 35 miles an hour was the highest speed limit that you're supposed to drive at that time. So they had a sticker put right on the speedometer in the automobile.
Okay, and that's to help conserve gas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So, was it difficult getting to college then, or?
No, there's no trouble getting into college. No, not in Grand Rapids JC, but
Oh,
I
okay.
applied, and of course, in January of '44, I received a draft notice for Uncle Sam.
Okay.
With that famous Uncle Sam finger pointing at you, we want you. So I went to the draft board, and I was drafted, and that was, I went in March, as I said, and when drafted, we went down to the Grand Rapids train depot,
Okay.
and board trained a whole bunch of us. They brought us a train over to Rockford, Illinois, of all places. Rockford, Illinois is pretty close north, pretty close to the Wisconsin border, and that was a distribution center where they decided you're going there, so they put us on a train, and a bunch of us, and we headed for Durham, North Carolina, which is just outside of Camp Butner, and then they put on what we call cattle cars, shipped us to Camp Butner.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you do get to Camp Butler, what kind of reception do you get? I mean, is it the whole drill sergeants yelling at you the moment you get off the train? And...
Well, no, not necessarily right away anyway. Later on you get that, but as a rule, it was a decent reception in the Camp Butner, yeah. Because it was the reactivation of the 78th Division. The 78th Division was in World War I also, but reinactivated. So it was a whole bunch of brand new people coming in to reactivate the 78th Division.
Right.
And that was in March of '43, and we went through the whole year. In fact, we even went on maneuvers in Tennessee before we headed overseas.
Okay.
We were there for March of '43, and we did not leave there until October of '44.
Okay.
Before we left and went to Camp Pickett, New Jersey, and there we boarded the boats and headed overseas.
Right. Now, so during basic training, what does your basic training consist of?
Well, being in the medical corps, when I went in, they ask you what you want to be.
Really?
I mean, in World War II, they put you in the place you want to be, but they ask you. I said, well, I'd like to be in the motor pool. I worked on cars and trucks for quite a bit, part-time, with my dad. And, of course, it ended up, they said, no, we want you in the medical corps.
Did they give any reason why they didn't want you?
Well, I guess they just had enough in the medical corps at that time, so we needed some in the medical corps. So, yeah, you didn't have much choice at that time. You just went where they told you to go.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, but in the training, we had lots of class work. Being in the medical corps, you had to learn all parts of the body, all this and that, of course.
Right.
That was all new to me, naturally.
Yeah.
So, and then how to dress wounds and how to take care of broken bones and so on.
Okay.
But we did a lot of marching too with the infantry and went on marches, many hikes. And of course, in North Carolina, it was real hot in summertime, naturally.
Yeah, imagine. Did you get any of the the regular weapons training or anything like that, or did they not do that with
The only weapon I had was a pair of bandage scissors.
Well,
no, they gave us no training with weaponry at all. No.
Okay.
No.
Did they still do a focus on discipline and following orders though?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Just like the infantry. Oh yeah. We
Yeah.
The same discipline as any other soldier gets in the infantry training. Sure.
Makes sense.
Sure.
And how well did you adjust to being in the Army?
Oh, I adjusted all right. I didn't have any big problems with it. I mean, all of us were, I would say 75% of us were 18, 19, 20-year-olds. I mean, that's the age most all of us were.
Yeah.
There's as I say, a few older ones, but I'd say
Yeah.
75% were just the same age as I was. So
Okay.
we got along good.
More than fine.
Yeah.
And were they from all over the country, or did they come from mostly Michigan?
Yeah, mostly the Midwest though, but we had some from Pennsylvania, I remember too, but mostly Midwest men. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was kind of, you're with people that you kind of not
Yeah.
knew personally, but you knew where they came from.
Right.
Now you're at Camp Butler for more than a year, but how long does the training session last?
At Camp Butner?
Yeah.
Well, as soon as we arrived until we left, actually training.
Oh, you just
every day you train,
okay.
doing something, you know.
Okay, so
You
they
know, class or on the road or hikes, going to hikes with the infantry. We went right along with the infantry.
okay.
Yeah.
Now on hikes with infantry and on the maneuvers, if anyone got hurt, were you and the other medics expected to go and take care of it just like you would in the?
Right. In fact, many in the summertime it was hot, so they all carried their guns naturally. And once in a while one would fall up from the heat and a heat stroker. I mean, so I'd have to take care of them, and then once they got back on their feet again, well, usually I had to carry their gun to help them out to get them going because, well, the gun was real heavy, but we just naturally picked it up and carried it for them.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And it's still 10 pounds. 10 pounds extra to carry.
Yeah, it's not too light, but it's just to help them out.
Yeah, of course. After you've had heat stroke, you probably want.
Yes, true.
Okay. Now it says here you're part of the 310th Infantry Regiment Medical Corps?
Yes.
Okay. And do you stay with them for the rest of your time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. In fact, when I got overseas, I was assigned to Company D of the 310th Infantry.
Okay.
Company D is a heavy machine gun and mortar company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
In fact, I just I was thinking about that heavy machine gun, 50 caliber machine gun. They were all water cooled guns. So in the wintertime, they put antifreeze to keep the bullet from freezing.
Okay.
But a water cooled machine gun.
Especially because you got over there and nearing the end of fall.
Yeah, in Germany, right.
So that brings us up to the next part, which is in October you up to Camp Pickett. And did you go over on a Victory ship, or did you go over, or a Liberty ship rather, or did you go over on a converted cruise liner?
Well, it was just a USS George Washington. It was just kind of made over for a troop carrier.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was one of the that was like post World War One.
Yes. Yeah.
Spoils of war type ships. Okay.
Yeah.
So how was the crossing?
Well, we didn't have any problems, and I didn't get seasick.
Oh, that's good.
Going over or coming back.
That's good.
But, of course, going over, they did a lot of zigzagging in their maneuvers, naturally, because German U-boats and submarines are always present someplace.
Did you guys travel alone, or did you have a convoy?
We had a convoy.
Okay.
Yeah, all the 78th went.
Okay.
And all the equipment went with us. Yeah, so the convoy.
Okay, so you also probably had destroyer escorts and things like that as well.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And did you guys run into any rough weather on the way over? Or
No, we didn't. No.
It was smooth sailing the entire way?
No, we didn't have it rough weather.
Good.
We landed in Bournemouth, England, which is in the southern tip of England.
Okay.
And we was there probably 2 or 3 weeks, just kind of trading, getting used to them. And we took the boat across to France.
Okay.
Of course, this was after D-Day, after the invasion of France.
Right.
An article I was reading, in fact, in one of my flash magazines, with the 70th, put out after the war, one of their magazines had an article in there which I never heard of, and probably a lot of other people didn't, but before the invasion of France, they did some training down by Bournemouth, England, in the waters there, and practice landings and so on.
Okay.
And of course that was before we got there, but
Right.
Anyway, the article said that the German U-boats came in when they were training, and naturally they were just training. They had no ammunition in their guns or anything, just in training.
Yeah.
But over 500 get killed by those German
Yeah.
U-boats at that time.
Operation.
Just the trainers, just training.
Yeah, Operation Tiger or something like that, and they just the U-boat stumbled on them and sank a ship.
I never heard of that before, but
Yeah.
I read that in our Flash magazine once. Yeah.
Okay. So when you do cross over to France, do you land at Normandy, or do you go to like Le Havre or Cherbourg?
I think Le Havre, I believe it was, and then we got on a train.
Okay.
And the train took us quite a ways towards the German border. Then we got on trucks.
Okay.
And went up to the positions. We replaced another division, but the Battle of Bulge had already started, and we were deployed on the southern border of the Battle of the Bulge. We had to hold that position. So we was dug in there, and this was in the middle of the winter, of course. Last of December, we went in combat December the 13th. And we dug in and lived in foxholes there for 3.5 weeks before we started attacking, moving forward.
Okay.
Because the Battle of the Bulge, they were trying to cut off the whole country and cut across Belgium into the sea.
Right.
And of course, they didn't succeed, but the Battle of the Bulge, also I read in our publication, The Flash, that we lost 26,000 KIAs killed in action in the Battle of the Bulge. 26,000 in that one battle, besides the wounded, of course.
Yeah, right. But I mean, still, you know, it's considered to be one of, if not the last major battle of the European theater.
Yeah.
This last desperate push.
Yeah.
So when you did get up there, were you in France, or were you in the south?
No, in Siegfried Line, actually. Just into Germany.
Okay.
In fact, one of those pillboxes was just behind us, where we were stationed on the line.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And of course, we slept in our foxholes. We didn't have just leather boots, so we had lots of frozen toes and feet.
Yeah.
In the middle of winter, it's just like it is here, there.
Yeah.
And one night, the sergeant and the lieutenant slept in that bunker. And they asked me one night if I wanted to take a break and kind of sleep in the bunker that night. So I said, sure. So during the night, it just happened that the German mortar shell hit my foxhole.
Wow.
Blew it up. And I wasn't there. I just thank the Lord every day that I wasn't, that they asked me to sleep in the bunker that night.
Yeah, you took him up on that offer.
Yeah. But just one of those things where God was taking care of me.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned that a lot of guys were suffering from frostbite.
Yeah.
What did you do to take care of that?
Well, mostly just they took off their boots and put on more socks if they had them, and rubbed their feet as much as they could, but because we couldn't build any fires naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was. I often wished when I got out of went ice fishing, I had big wool socks that I bought, had 2 batteries inside, had wires down the feet and warmed my feet. I wish I would have had those when I was in service.
Yeah, I bet. Now let's see. You got up there. You got online in December 13th, and the Battle of Bulge starts approximately December 16th. Do you remember the first major offensive that the Germans launched in mid-December?
You mean the Battle of Bulge when they pushed in?
Yeah, like the initial.
Yeah. Well, we, as I say, we went in after they had started their push.
Oh, okay.
So we really didn't get any.
You didn't get the major.
Real major. They were going towards Belgium. And
right.
Of course, we was on the south flank where they weren't headed towards us.
Oh, okay.
But I did read in that flash also that during their push, there was a SS troop supposed to be headed towards us because they knew we were new in the line. It'd be easy prey for them. But the P-38s and P-51s strafed that whole line. The weather cleared up good enough they could strafe them, and they changed their direction. So that's another thing that we didn't get in a hard battle at that time. Of course, after we once started moving forward, we had lots of encounters and battles, of course.
Okay.
Because every day, of course, you got mortars, you got artillery shell coming in at you. It's the artillery shell that you can hear go by you. That's the one you don't have to worry about. It's the one you can't hear that gets you. Yeah. That's the one that got me eventually. But anyway, also, while we was on that southern border, they had what they call the buzz bombs. It was close to 500-pound bomb or something. You could hear them coming in the distance, and you could see them go over a large motorized buzz bomb, they called it. Yeah, it's the V1, I think. Yeah, I think that's something what it was. Motorized, it wasn't a jet, it was motorized. Yeah. You could hear that motor off in the distance coming, and you see it go across. Yeah, and then the motor would cut off, and then it would just fall. So where they were, how accurate they were, or what they were going to hit over there, I don't know, but they're still pretty scary. Oh yeah. So before you start moving forward, most of what you're getting is kind of harassment, interdiction, artillery from the Germans. Yeah, and some gunfire also. I mean, every once in a while they'd see some of us up someplace and fire. Yeah. So it'd be just like sporadic little advanced parties that would come out and probe the line. Okay. Of course, we did have night patrols go out quite a bit. Okay. I never went on the night patrol, but the infantry went on night patrols. Okay. Now, did you ever have to take care of anyone that was hit by artillery in those first couple weeks? Gunfire, I took care of a couple of them, but artillery didn't have any artillery casualties at that time. Oh, okay. Not until we started attacking forward. That's when things broke open, of course. Okay. So when do you guys finally break out and start advancing? Yeah, it was about, let's say, the 13th of December. We was there just about close to 3 weeks before we started attacking. Okay. So into January is when you start to push back? Yeah, yes. Did you guys move to a town first, or was it just moving in a general direction? Yeah, we moved we moved to a town. One of the first objectives that we were into, Okay. Mm-hmm. And is that the first time that you guys really ran into, face-to-face German contact? Right. Okay. Yeah. Now, how was that? Did they stand their ground, or did they wind up just turning and running? No, they stood their ground. Yeah, they put lots of artillery and mortar, rifle fire, and just no easy advancing. No, you fought for every foot that you wanted. Yeah, definitely. But you guys wind up taking the town, and then so kind of take us through the rest of basically the rest of January 1945. What happens? Yeah, well, we move forward, and as I say, you take towns, and of course go through lots of countryside. But I remember one particular dam. I forget the river that was on, but we wanted to keep them blowing up that dam because downstream was a lot of our people on different portions of that river, and we didn't want to flood it all, so we had quite a battle that one, 2 days actually, and we did save the dam. But I remember that last night we, of course, we all out in the open field. We weren't in a town or nothing, so we'd take our blankets out and lay out our blankets out in the open field, and not just got settled, and here comes one of the guards. Came over, he knew where I was, and says, hey, the lieutenant over there needs some medical work done. He's got not a real serious one, but he's been wounded. Walk over and take care of him. So he showed it to me about where he was, and I got up, kind of walking through under the blankets, these guys, and all of a sudden, somebody's in front of me, and it was pitch dark. I couldn't see who it was or what, but and he was jabbering, and all of a sudden he handed me his rifle. It was a German soldier. Handed me his rifle, and of course I couldn't understand the German, the German, and I couldn't see between you and me. It was so dark.
Oh wow!
I couldn't see. But anyway, he handed me a rifle, and he wanted to give up. He surrendered, so I took him over to that guard, and let the guard take him back and take his rifle and take him back. So,
okay.
So that was kind of a different situation for a medic to.
Yeah, to have someone surrender to him.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of dealing with the Germans, did you collect many prisoners of war during that time, or was it just sporadic little things like guys giving?
Yeah, there's well, not right away, but a few weeks down the road, later January, February, then we could get lots of prisoners of war. In fact, one night, our squad moved into a town to capture that town that night. And we got to the town, and there were no Germans, nothing there, so we just kind of set up and decided we took the town over. But just at daylight, we could see down the road, here comes a squad of Germans walking towards the town. Well, this one sergeant of ours could speak German, so we set up the machine guns, one on each side of the road, and all the riflemen. And he went out and jumped in front of them. And they got in front of us, and he told them that they were surrounded by gunfire, and they better give up or they'd be mowed down. And they all dropped their guns and gave up, and he marched them into a church, set them all in the church. That was one of the groups that our particular unit captured.
Okay.
But this group, I noticed, were a lot of older guys and young kids. I mean, they were getting anybody in that they could. They stripped them in their service,
Yeah, it was getting to the point where they'd run out of pretty much anyone else. So.
Right, anybody.
Now, did you have orders to take care of prisoners of war, like if they're wounded at all, or?
Yes, if they're wounded and they're prisoners of war, we took care of them. Yes, we did. Yeah.
Did you ever run into any situations like that?
Yes, I had a couple of them that were prisoners of war that they had slight wounds, nothing serious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, one question I guess I failed to ask was, as a medic, what did you carry as a medic? I know you mentioned bandage, scissors, but
Well, we had two pouches, one on each side, just canvas pouches, and we carried, of course, our bandages and tape and sulfa powder, which we used. They didn't have penicillin yet at that time.
Right.
And morphine. So we had little tubes of morphine. They come in, well, like our toothpaste used to come. Maybe you don't remember, but toothpaste used to come in tin and just containers that is tin.
Oh, okay.
metal toothpaste.
Oh,
well, that's what these morphine were, little tin tubes.
Okay.
And then it had a needle on top with a sleeve over it, and we pulled the sleeve off, and we could shoot the morphine in.
Okay.
And of course, as I said, all the bandages and all of the tapes and so on that you need in the first aid, and even had pills in there that put in the water to, we fill our canteen, is the way we filled them in the creek, and put these pills in the water and let it set for half hour, 45 minutes before you can drink it. It would purify it, so you would.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, during the Battle of Bulge, you're that. It almost seemed like more guys were killed from freezing to death than from.
Not necessarily frozen
Really?
to death. There's still frozen feet and parts and fingers and so on, but no, most of them are all killed in battle combat. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So you get to the dam, and was that town where the squad was captured, was that before or after the dam?
That was after the dam, yeah.
Okay.
That was after that dam experience. Another experience we had, talk about friendly fire, we were on a border of another town we was going to attack, and there's a big line of pine trees in a forest before you get into town, and we were right on the edge of that forest of pine trees, big tall pine trees. And we had a forward artillery observer for the artillery back, you know, but they're always back a quarter mile, half a mile, whatever.
Right.
Artillery, and this forward observer is supposed to call in fire when he wants it. Well, he called in fire to bring onto this town before we attacked it, just to kind of soften it down. But anyway, the artillery fire hit the top of these pine trees, and we were all down below, lying down, just waiting to make an attack. And when that artillery fire hit the top of the pine trees, naturally it 8 or 9 guys, there was 2 of them, I could see their brains were just laying out there. Another one, his body was all broke open. There was, I think there was 5 others that I treated. But you know, they're all crying, medic, medic. You don't know which one do you treat first, you know.
Well, yeah.
You try to pick one out, maybe it's the worst shape, but that was one of the friendly fires. There was more than one I thought, but that's the one that I was mostly involved in.
That's probably the worst of it.
Yeah, the worst friendly fire.
So, I mean, were you the only medic, or did they at least have one other?
Well, with this 10th Infantry and the Company D, there is other rifle companies also, but their medic, where he was, I have no idea at that time. I yelled out for another medic, but what happened to him, I don't know. But
okay. So throughout the early part of 1945, you're pretty much advancing into Germany by this point, right?
Yes, German property, right.
Okay. Now, in like early March, we get up to the Rhine River and we cross that. Were you with the 78th?
Okay. Now, talking about the Rhine River, okay. We of course, being ground troops, we didn't ride in jeeps or trucks or anything. So from the middle of December to March the 8th, we was always on the ground. But the night of March the 8th, late at night, we had just bunkered down, and they said, everybody up, we're leaving. And there was some trucks. Get on the trucks, we're going. Trucks, so we never rode any trucks. What on earth's going on here? So they got us all on the trucks and headed out, ended up at Remagen.
Okay.
No, of course Remagen, what's Remagen? We had no idea, but they said there's Remagen. Well, up ahead, it was real dark. It's about 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning we arrived there. They said we had captured that bridge. We had cut the wires on the detonation of the Germans. They're going to blow it up, but they were waiting for their troops to get over the bridge before they blew it up.
Yeah.
And one of our people cut the wires on the demolition before they could blow it up. So they captured that bridge, and that's where they shipped us. So at 4 o'clock on March 8th, we were walking across that bridge. After they had captured it the evening before. I think it was before dark.
Right.
So then, right away, of course, we captured the bridge. Boy, when we went across, there was a tank going across, but it was a railroad bridge, and his tracks got caught in something. He was trying to get that tank loose so other tanks and stuff could follow behind him. So what happened how long it took, I don't know, but that bridge did cave in about, it must have been about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, it did finally cave in.
Oh, okay.
Because they weakened it with Actually, they sort of were old planes. I mean, these two-wing planes and one.
Really?
And they were trying to bomb that bridge. The Germans were
Using
with those old planes.
Like biplanes, or?
Yeah, yeah.
I guess that shows how
probably
desperate
all they had left, you know.
Yeah.
But by that time, the anti-aircraft was all along there, and they were pretty much taking care of them.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
And also, that night we stayed in that town just across the bridge. I forget the name of that town. Remagen was on the west side, and this other town on the east side. We stayed in that town till daylight before we attacked it again. And by the time we got in the morning, the engineers were there building a pontoon bridge across upstream from the
old bridge.
The railroad bridge.
Okay.
Of course, they had a smoke bomb and everything
yeah.
so they couldn't see what they were doing down there, but they were building a pontoon bridge. But the Rhine River is a very fast running river and very wide.
Okay.
So Hitler, of course, didn't want a bridge like that captured because that would let us advance much faster than what he figured.
Oh, yeah.
So I also thought, going back to this flash paper, I read in there again that the two colonels supposed to be in charge of this unit that blew up the bridge, and the other units, they were kind of a mock trial and taken out in the woods and shot. The two colonels, Hitler had them shot because of their
because of
didn't take care of the bridge.
Oh wow. So by this point, when you do cross the Rhine River, it's pretty well a foregone conclusion that we're going to win the war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they did put up a lot of resistance all the way through. Yeah.
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 So, and then let's just keep going with the advance into Germany. Do you remember seeing any kind of civilians or?
Oh yes, yes. You see civilians all around here and there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did they try to mostly stay out of your way, or?
Yeah, yeah. They stayed inside most all the time. Yeah, they stay inside. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So now it says here you got a Purple Heart. When did you get wounded? Was this after you?
Yeah, that was on. He went across the Rhine on March the 8th, and of course we could have kept advancing and attacking and so on. And this one morning, April 11th, we were on a hill over the side of this town down in the valley, going to attack it, and we got pinned down by artillery. They sent artillery across the other side of town. They could see us, but they had us pinned down, and they said the artillery, the one you don't hear go by, that's the one that got me.
Okay.
I was wounded by an artillery shell.
Okay.
And I, yeah, once I was wounded, of course, I wasn't in too bad a shape. This one leg was pretty well shot up, and bleeding bad, and some shells in my back. But I took my bandages out and my scissors and kind of cut my pants off so I could get at them, and bandage my own wounds up. I had enough. It didn't knock me out, in other words.
Right. But I mean, still you...
So I could bandage up all my wounds on my leg. I couldn't reach my back, but I guess that wasn't too serious. So I bandaged it all up and put salt in and put the bandages on. And in fact, I gave my a shot of morphine also. And then, of course, when you got shells falling around, there was somebody firing on you, you want to be in the lowest spot you could get.
Yeah.
Well, we weren't in holes, we were just laying there. So I pulled myself over to that shell hole and crawled in there because, yeah, that's just normal. You want to get in the low spot even though you're wounded. Why, hey, you don't want another one.
Well, no.
So I crawled in that shell hole and kind of got my wits back together, and then I just laid there waiting for the litter bearers to come pick me up, which is quite a while, but I just thank the Lord that that shell wasn't 3 or 4 feet closer to me. It would have blew me up, actually.
Yeah.
So I just had a prayer meeting there and just thanked the Lord for what he did for me.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, then the litter bearers come and pick me up. Of course, these litter bearers are all people that I trained with for years. And back at the aid station, excuse me.
Oh no, you're fine. I'm just taking a look at the battery because we might have to stop and I might have to charge the camera for a second before we continue.
Okay.
Actually, this would be a good place to stop and then restart in a second.
All right.
Okay, so just picking up where we left off, you've been wounded.
Yeah, I was wounded, and as I say, the litter bearers and those in the first aid station are all the people that I trained with all that month before, so they knew me. But so they treated me, and then got on ambulance, what they call an ambulance, and they tucked me in there and brought me to the field hospital, which was a large tent set up field hospital. And in the field hospital, they took care of me there, and I was there probably 3 days, maybe 4 days, but they said you can't leave here until your temperature comes down. You've got quite a temperature right now. So being a medic, of course, I knew how to take the temperature with a gauge in my mouth, under my tongue, and I would pull it out and look at it once in a while. I got to 98.3 or close to that. I would put it on top of my tongue so it wouldn't go any higher. But I wanted to get out of there because there were so many bad wounded coming in, and I wasn't really that bad. They had me fixed up pretty good, so I got out of there, even though maybe I shouldn't have. But from there, they actually flew me over to Oxford, England.
Okay.
To a hospital in Oxford, England. And there let's see, that was the middle of April, and I was at Oxford, England, the hospital. No, it was just about the end of June before I left there.
Okay.
They treated me, and they tried to get all that pants and all that dirt and stuff out of my bad wound. So I left it open, they'd drain it every day, and so it took time to heal. But I left there, and then I got on the boat and shipped us back to the States. And actually I ended up at Percy Jones Hospital in Fort Custer, Battle Creek, Michigan. And at the rehab hospital facility.
Okay.
And I was there until the last of September, and I got discharged from there. And by that time, of course, the Japanese had surrendered also. So
yeah, the war was really done by then.
All over, yeah.
And now, when you were in England, you're in England for Victory in Europe Day.
Yeah.
On May 8th.
Right. In fact, Roosevelt died. Was it 2 days after?
2 days after April 12th or 13th.
Yeah. So after I was wounded. Yeah, I remember that.
Did you hear about that?
Yes, I did. We did.
Yeah.
Heard about that. Yeah.
I mean, what were people's reactions to that?
Yeah, it nothing real. Of course, I was in the in the field hospital that day, out in the field, so they were so busy there that they didn't pay much attention to it, of course.
That's too bad.
And then I got in England in the hospital. Why, of course, the English people, the nurses and doctors, that didn't say a whole lot. They were happy that he had gone as far as he had and done what he had. During World War II,
Yeah. Now, when Victory in Europe Day happens, that is in England. How do people react to that?
How they act in Europe?
Yeah, in England, to the war being over in Europe.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was in the hospital, so there wasn't a whole lot of stuff going on, but I imagine out in the streets, so there's probably a lot of stuff going on, but I didn't notice a whole lot in the hospital itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just people maybe a little happier to know that at least part of it was done.
Right.
Okay. So you get back to the United States, to Percy Jones Hospital now for, before we get to the next question I was going to ask, what did the rehabilitation really consist of?
Oh, just mostly exercise, and they did have classes for us to go to. I went to a mechanical drawing class. I wanted to be a mechanical drawing
Oh,
when I
okay.
got out, so I took a class on that. And they did let us come back here at Grandville every weekend.
Oh, okay.
So I had an old 38 Chevrolet that I drove back and forth to.
So you said you now you'd mentioned earlier that your wife was babysitting the pastors. Were you married before you?
No.
Your wife to be.
I was in high school.
Okay.
High school. But that's, my wife to be, right?
So you're able to visit her and visit your family and all that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, were you concerned at all that after you got rehabilitated that they were going to cycle you back into a new unit to be sent to the Pacific?
To Japan. That was a very possibility if we got rehabilitated enough. And we thought surely we were going to be shipped over there.
Yeah. But fortunately, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Now, you're in the United States. Do you remember when Victory in Japan Day happened?
Oh, yeah.
How did people react to that?
Oh, yeah. That was a big celebration, People in the streets and honking horns and ringing church bells. And it was a great celebration then,
Good. So, so we get to the end of September. When were you discharged?
On September 26th.
September 26th.
1945.
Okay, so were you discharged just right from Fort Custer?
From Fort Custer, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your service is completely done. Now, what do you do afterwards?
Well, I got a job at General Motors on 36th Street in Grand Rapids, tool and die.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I applied over there and got a job at tool and die. In fact, a fellow worked there going into tool and die, and he was allergic to the fluids and so on in the machines that he was operating, and he couldn't stay there, so he sold me all of his tools.
Oh, wow.
But I was there for just a little over 3 months, and they went on strike. Okay. Now, at that same time, my father decided to get out of the automotive garage business and open an automotive parts store in Grandville. So he says, no, you're on strike, you come down and help me. Why don't you help me put up shelves and get this building all set so I can start a parts store.
Yeah.
So I did. Things went on, and I never went back to General Motors. I stayed in the parts business.
And what parts business was that?
Automobile, Becker Auto Supply in Grandville.
Oh, okay.
And machine shop. And my two brothers come out of the service about a year and a half later, and they joined us. And all four of us, my dad and us three boys, run the automobile parts, and we had a machine shop.
Okay.
In fact, the machine shop, after my dad passed away, us three took over the business. And 1980, I decided to get out of the parts business and take over the machine shop, which I loved to work in. And my shop foreman, which I had then, had retired, so I says, I'm going to go in the shop. And so I sold my interest out of the parts department and bought the machine shop out completely. And we rebuilt engines and drawn crankshafts and rebored engines. We did everything from small Briggs and Stratton to big diesel engines, rebuilt all kinds of engines.
Very cool.
Did that until I had a problem in so when I was 72 years old, I was still working. And I was out raking leaves in my backyard one day in November. And I had a heart problem, short of breath, so I went and rested, went back out, same thing. So I went to the doc, and he says, you got problems. So make a long story short, I had 4 bypass surgeries. They opened me up, 4 bypass surgeries, and 72 years old, I says, I'm getting out of the business, I'm quitting. So that's when I retired at 72.
All right.
But I liked the business. I mean, I had lots of good people working for me. I like going to work every day. They say if you like going to work, good. If you don't like going to work, well, then you better find something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you also went on the Challenge Out honor flight in May.
That was awesome. That was awesome. Yeah, that was great.
Very good.
Yeah.
Were you ever a part of any other veterans organizations? Like,
No.
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 So this is the first major thing that you did.
Yes. Yes.
All right. All right.
But that was great. They say we went to the airport, Grand Rapids here at 5:30 in the morning. We had breakfast.
Oh, okay.
And during breakfast, they had a group of men. I don't know who the men came from. They were singing for us patriotic songs that early in the morning while we were eating breakfast. We got done to breakfast. Aboard the plane, there was a whole line of people, veterans, and well, soldiers at this time. Even they had the uniforms on, and other people greeting us all the way from breakfast to the airplane.
Very nice.
Can't believe that time of day. Got on the plane and got off at Reagan Airport in D.C. And there they had another big line to greet us. First in line was Dan DeVos and Bill Heisinger.
Oh, okay.
They were first in line to greet us.
Makes
in that
sense.
line in Washington. But they had a whole line of people too. And down the end of that line, they had a group of women singing patriotic songs. So it was great. They greeted us, and they say we got on the buses going through D.C. We had police escort where we went, and saw all these buildings. But that World War II memorial is great to see.
Yeah.
That's an awesome place.
Yeah.
Even Bob Dole was there and greeted us.
Oh, okay.
He put it together.
Right.
When he was senator.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great experience. We got back, and coming back to Grand Rapids, actually we left. We was eating our meal at night. In the evening, what they did is had the Army unit set up tents out on the field and served us in tents and out in the field. But we just got done eating. Boarding buses go to the airport in Washington, and it started to rain. First rain we had.
Well,
So we held off.
They held off.
So we got to the airport, and there's a big line greeting us there again to get from the buses to the airplane. Got out of the plane. We were supposed to take off at 8:30, and we didn't take off till 9:30 because they had a thunderstorm someplace in the line where the plane was supposed to travel.
Oh, right.
So they held us up for an hour. Got back to Grand Rapids Airport, and there was another big line to greet us all the way from the plane to the bus again. But where they got all these people to greet us, I don't know. But anyway, we got on the bus, and I looked at my watch, and we didn't leave the airport. We were going to East Kentwood High School, where they were going to greet us. And we didn't leave the airport until 10:45. I looked at my watch. We didn't get to the East Kentwood until just about 11 o'clock, and those people had been there for a long time waiting for us. But they announced that the plane was held up. But we had an escort, police escort from Grand Rapids Airport to East Kentwood also. And we could see it was dark, and looking up ahead of the buses going up a little hill, we could see that whole line of motorcycles ahead of us. So they had all those motorcycles gang.
Oh, the Freedom Riders.
Yeah. They were ahead of the buses headed for East Kentwood.
Oh, wonderful.
Got to East Kentwood, and there they had the fire department with a big ladders up with a big flag hanging over the entrance with these big ladder trucks. And got through the entrance, and there they had fire trucks from everywhere, Grandville and Kentwood, Jenison, Grand Rapids, and East Grand Rapids, all kinds of fire trucks, all their lights flashing.
Wow.
Along the route going into the high school parking lot. We got into high school, and the greeters waiting for us. First in line there was Bill Heisinger and Danny DeVos again.
Oh, okay.
So they must have took a private Amway jet,
Yeah.
went over and came back, but they were there first in line. But there's over 4,000 in those hallways greeting us. We wound all through the hallways of East Kentwood. They said there was actually just about 4,000 people greeting us. Little kids. It was after 11, 15 or so. Lots of little kids.
That's
That
good.
was a great experience. We enjoyed it.
Very good.
Yeah.
And then, kind of as a final question to wrap things up, when you look back on your time in the service, what did you take away from it?
Well, it was an experience that, of course, you'll never forget. I think you grow up in a hurry because, as I said, all of us kids on the front line, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds, all of us on the front line, I look back at man life, my kids, my kids that age being on the front line, like we were, day after day after day, but you grow up in a hurry. But no, it was a good experience, and as I say, you learn a lot, and you grow up, and you give a lot of things you learn there that you don't learn at home.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of kids today could learn a lot in the service that they don't learn at home too.
Yeah, they could.
Or they don't listen. There you listen. No
Yes.
Matter, no matter what.
Yeah, you don't really have much of a choice.
Yeah, right.
Or you do, but you get in trouble. So,
Yeah.
well, thank you very much.
Adam, thank you. Thank you very much.